This is a little bit of a shift today to another kind of light. It's not a light that shines, but it's called light burdens. Do those two words even go together? How can a burden, which is typically by definition a heavy load, also be light? Well, I'm glad you asked. Light is everything, especially when the world gets heavy. You know the passage from Matthew 11 that says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you'll find rest for your souls. My yoke is easy and my burden is light." It's probably one of the most turned to scriptures when we're weary and burdened, because who doesn't want rest? The context of these verses, in the middle of the oppression of the Pharisees, those religious guys who wanted to strap on the heavy burden of rituals for ritual's sake. They wanted to lay these heavy burdens on the shoulder of people so they could never do enough, get it right, or meet up to the stipulations of a holy life. Point taken. We can't. And to try to do so is a heavy burden indeed. Self-righteousness, legalistic law-keeping was a heavy burden. I read that some scholars say that these Pharisees had over 600 regulations for what it means to work on the Sabbath day. And folks would succumb to these burdens because they wanted to please God, but God was not pleased. I'm not sure a lot of people these days have been burdened with religious rituals, because so many don't even go to church or are in the church world where some of these burdens exist. I was raised in a legalistic home, and I did find the do's and don'ts quite burdensome, and I grew weary. Those burdens weren't light, and I never felt like I pleased God. But is that a thing these days? Do kids, parents, anyone care if they please God? Well, let's go back to our original verse, the one that said, "Come to me if you're weary and burdened. I'll give you rest. My yoke is easy and my burden is light." It's born into our beings to please someone in order to gain love and acceptance. It starts as babies and toddlers aiming to please mom and dad to get what they want. Teens enter the dating world and want to please those they might marry in order to feel loved and accepted. And as we continue to grow, search and grope for love, we're always looking for a rule book, so to speak, so that we can do what's required in order to be loved. That's a heavy burden to carry, not light. And light is everything. The fundamentals of Christianity are laid out in the Bible as loving God and loving one another, and these commands are not heavy, but a light one because they're a blessing. Legalism, a form of rules to follow for acceptance, is heavy. Dressing cute or looking thin or pretty enough to get a guy is a heavy burden, not light. Owning homes and cars and things so others will like us and think well of us is another form of list and do's and don'ts to feel good about ourselves, and it's heavy. It creates a heavy burden that grows heavier with age, because we soon find out that no amount of prettiness or things stays with us, but it wanes, ebbs and flows, and then we're left feeling empty again, groping for love. Luke 11:46, Jesus has very harsh words for those that lay heavy burdens on others. "You experts in the law, woe to you, because you load people up with burdens they can't hardly carry, and you don't lift a finger to help them." Back to the verse about light burdens. "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened. Take my yoke upon you. My burden is light." Anything that causes weariness, makes us stumble, or creates a load or a list of things we cannot accomplish on our own is a burden that weighs heavy throughout life and creates a shuffle instead of a skip. If you've ever observed a depressed person full of the weight of the world, you can tell it in the way they walk. Their light is gone from their eyes, and the spring is missing from their step. How can you skip if you're burdened? Jesus invites us to come and take his yoke because he's gentle and humble, and we will find rest, and his burden is light. We find an easy yoke instead of endless rules because light is everything. I read this: "A burden becomes light when it's no longer your own weight to carry, but something shared, redefined by love, supported by grace, and seen through the lens of a spiritual purpose, making it manageable and even joyful." When I'm feeling heavy, it's usually because I've placed a set of obligations on my shoulders that I can't fulfill and find no joy in making myself do so. I've drifted away from being motivated by love and knocked out the support under me called grace. I want light burdens, don't you? I mean, can we have joy too? Light is everything, and one only feels like skipping when one's shoulders and backs are unencumbered by anything other than the love of Christ. Light is everything.